Who in the room was in Miss Whalen's class last year? Oh, right. So I have some friends. Do you remember me being in your classroom last year? Okay. Thank you so much. Hands down, hands down. So today's really about the teacher's learning and how our learning impacts your learning. So everyone's learners. And it's okay to make mistakes and to try something new on for size. That's what learning is all about. And we have a specific kind of focus today. Do you want to talk about something that you noticed in the essay writing?
Thank you. So, and we've already talked about this, right? So last week I talked to you guys about what I noticed in our district writing prompts, right? How you all were really, really good at giving me a quote and telling me what you read. Then the next step that we're going to work on is how can we put that into our own words? How can we analyze it? So if we think about last week with A to Z News, do you remember the sample? And I'm going to talk about Dylan right now. Remember the sample where it said in A to Z News where it said that people don't pay attention to how much sugar they ate? And who remembers what Dylan said? He gave us an analysis about that. He kind of turned it and put it in his own words. Nora?
This isn't verbatim, obviously, but I think it was something like people don't usually check the labels.
Yes. So he basically made a conclusion. He said, you're not paying attention. This shows me that people aren't paying attention to what they eat.
You don't actually care.
Or they don't actually care, right? So that's what we're going to try to do today with our district writing, is to take our quotes and put it in our own words and try to analyze it.
Yeah. And the teacher word that we've been talking a lot about this morning is analysis. Analysis. And one thing that strong pieces of writing have when students analyze, one thing they all have is they have a lot of transition words. I know, that's the face. What is a transition word? You know what I want you to do right now? I'm going to give you 60 seconds to turn and talk to the person beside you or at your table. I want you to try to brainstorm maybe 3 different transition words or phrases. Try to see what you come up with. We'll give you 60 seconds to come up with a few transition words. 60 seconds, go.
Go.
Where can I write these, Renee? There we go. Perfect. She's got it back there, yeah. Can you guys come up with one? Next? Did you say the same thing? Yeah. Well done, well done, well done. So how many did I say to come up with? I said 3. Try to come up with 2 more. And you have 35 more seconds. Did you guys come up? Furthermore counts. I like that.
Yay.
Thank you. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, so 60 seconds is up. See the list at the back of the room? Well, it's not a list yet. It's a blank anchor chart. We're going to write your ideas. This group came up with a few. What's one that you came up with? Next. Next is a transition word. This group came up with a few. Can you share? Furthermore. Furthermore. Did this group come up with a few? Not yet. Okay. You came up with a few? Say it to your teacher. Loud enough so everyone can hear it. Therefore. So we gave you 60 seconds to come up with a list. That's what we got so far. We're going to give you another 60 seconds to try to add to the list. I already see some hands going up, so you already have something to add to the list, so you get a head start. 60 more seconds. Try to come up with a few more words. Go. You know, the teachers have a few in our heads that we're hoping the room was going to get. And if you don't get it, we're going to give them to you. What's one that you were hoping that you feel is like a really powerful transition?
A really powerful transition for analysis. This is one we've been using. This shows that.
Yeah, this shows that.
There's one. And then you're going to continue. You're going to tell me what the quote shows us. Okay, and another one I want you guys to use, you all scholars to use, is this proves. What does your quote prove? Okay, good.
Looking at this list right away, which do you feel on here is something you could do more of or add to your writing? and I want you to turn and talk and pick a couple things from the list. I'm going to give you 20 seconds. What from this list could you add to your writing right away? 20 seconds.
I think I could add also
Do we want to say anything?
Well, we're going to ask you to use these today in the activity. So the reason they're up here is so you can look at them and use them a lot today in your conversations. So this is for you to use to support you in the activity today. Okay, so the next little piece of our lesson, this is going to be a little bit different. You're going to get out of your seats in a minute. We have all these stations around the room, and we're going to get you into groups of 4. You're going to see in a minute different groups. You're going to have to find your group. And I'm standing in front of one station. You see this anchor chart up here? With your group, you're going to have to come up and read a sample of writing. Some of the samples are amazing. Some of the samples are growing. They're not there yet. We're going to ask you to come up to the sample and read it. And then we're going to pause you and give you some instructions on what we want you to do at this sample. So have a look around the room and see if you can spy other samples. Here's another sample. And we're putting some up at the back of the room over here as well. Now you have one marker per group, which means that one person is the recorder, one person's writing, and you're going to write directly on the chart paper. So directly on the chart paper, okay? My first question for you, I want you to read and discuss, do you think the sample that you're reading does a really good job analyzing? Is it a strong sample of analysis? Is it okay? Is it not very okay? And how do you know? If it is strong, how do you know? So it's talk, and then the person who's recording is going to be writing these ideas directly on the chart paper. So far, so good? Read, talk, write. How strong of a sample is it?
Writing was very important.
What are the examples?
The text said they show. The text could have said this proves that we thrive.
This shows that.
That we thrive.
No? Tell me more.
Okay, can you guys fill me in? The sample, strong sample, okay
Okay,
example.
so maybe
Where
write
is it on
that
that
down.
spectrum?
it's like good.
It's good, so it's not excellent.
Okay, so let's
it's
go
good.
more. No, they formed
Do you guys
a
all agree?
process actually is a
Yeah.
consent sentence.
Okay, I'm going to give you a few
People are able
minutes.
to go crossing
What
the red
makes it
soil.
good? What
That's
does it
evidence,
do
right?
that is really, and
So,
you can actually
do they
point to
have
it and touch the
analysis?
things, and
Do
then I
they
want
have
you to write the
analysis
things
that
that you
says,
feel like it
this
does really
proves,
well
or
on the
this
anchor chart.
tells us.
And I'm going
Okay.
to walk away so the camera's not on.
So
Sound
just
good?
completely
Sound good.
No, it's fine. Okay, I wanted some a strength that I saw was over here. Okay, what they said over here is it says, but now we buy food from the store. Their comment was it doesn't specifically say how they farmed. Back then people hunted for food. It doesn't say how they farmed. And they said we have to go back to the thesis. How did they farm and how did they thrive? So they said it doesn't say how they farm. It lacks kind of that focus, right? Mr. McKenzie, what do you
Yeah,
notice?
so one thing I've noticed, some groups are using this. Some groups are looking at this and they're reading their sample and they're saying, ooh, my sample has some of that in it. Some of you even underlined words. I see some of you have written words from this anchor chart. This group used that anchor chart to guide their thinking. These two anchor charts are what we want you to use. We want you to be looking at them. So you should be looking at your sample, looking at your anchor charts and thinking, what are they missing? What did they do well? We want to give you, I think, just 2 more minutes, maybe 1 more. We're going to rotate stations in a moment, and you're going to come to a new sample. and you have to obviously read that new sample. Very similar prompt. What does it do well? What could it do better? But the nice thing about coming to a new sample is you have the previous group's thoughts, their ideas that they've left there for you. So you can read their ideas and see what they thought. And you can even, if you agree with what they thought, you can add a big check mark or a happy face. But your job is to read and add to. I saw a big shift when we paused the groups and we asked them to use these anchor charts.
Yes.
So that should be the first thing you do, is use the anchor charts to guide some of your discussion. Now we're going to rotate clockwise, which means this way. So this group's going to come to the next station, etc. Could you find your new station clockwise, please? Thank you.
Good. That's our transition. What does that show? The
Gentlemen,
people
how's it
were able
going?
to go crops in rich soil.
So what does this one do
What does
well?
that? What would that show
Slide
us
over so the
about how
camera's
they
on.
live for
There you
farms?
go. What do you guys think that this one does really, really well? Or does it not do anything well? Maybe it does nothing well. Okay, so that's a connection on that anchor chart, right?
Okay. This
And is
one's
that
not
what you're
the
writing
same.
right now?
What?
Yeah. Is there another? You get writing that. You do that. Is there another thing that you feel this one
What
does
did I
really, really
teach
well?
you? This
Is
is
there
same or is
anything
it
from
different?
this list?
Okay, so what did they? What did if we
And
look
so what you're
over
going to have
here,
to
we
do
look
is
at our
look at the
question.
list and look at the writing.
Okay,
Look
what
at the
are they
list and
missing?
look at the
What did they
writing.
do
And
well?
if there
We wanna focus
isn't,
on what did they do
what
well
could you
here?
take from that list to add to this?
Okay, so that's evidence.
And how about I
right?
give you guys a
Evidence.
couple minutes to look,
So
and
what's
think
their
about it, and then I'll
analysis?
ask you
How did
again,
they
okay?
analyze? Okay, everybody. So we're gonna move into our closing right now, and I must say, you all did a great job. I noticed over there that someone commented this was the goal. Okay, is they have text evidence, but there's no analysis. And the fact that you saw that over there is amazing. Give yourselves a round of applause. Okay? That was our goal.
Yeah, another piece that we really wanted to focus on is at each anchor chart, there are all these amazing ideas from each other, and each other's ideas are meant to make your writing stronger. So when we ask you to walk around and look at other posters, it's because we want you to steal other people's thinking and use what's on the anchor chart to make your analysis even better. So right now, everyone is being given a sticky note. What we want you to do on the sticky note is we want you to write your name really small, and then we want you to write what's one thing that you learned today that you can add to your writing to make it stronger with regards to analysis. And ideally, you get really specific. Like if there is something that was written up at an anchor chart that you remember, you can write it down. If there's something on the sides with regards to thesis statement or transition words, you can write it down. Because you know what you're kind of doing? You're identifying the thing you're going to do tomorrow in tomorrow's lesson on this sticky note. So we want to give you, what do you think, 60 seconds maybe to write their one thing?
Yes.
60 seconds.
Over there where it says sticky notes.
Of course. So last year it was grade.
So is Cameron your brother or your cousin? Is Cameron your brother or your cousin? I have my brother and Augie's your cousin.
Someone took my folder and my pen.
Liam? Alright.
That might be mine.
Write a transition word. Escriba.
I'll bring it, okay?
Escriba.
Could you grab the marker? Sure.
Oh, are these ours? Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I need yours.
Okay.